But at the very time we all sat down to enjoy the delicious barbecue, thousands of miles to the east, a drama was unfolding in Afghanistan that would make this the last happy day for the priest and many others in the month of August. Chief Petty Officer Brian Bill, United States Navy SEAL, achieved his highest accomplishments far from Stamford, but the formative and seminal elements were present here in the fair city of his birth. We have had to share our grief on a national basis with our military and media. Tonight affords us an opportunity for an in-house Stamford family reflection upon what our native son did to make living here a sure and secure way of life. The teenage boy with the disarming smile here within our midst grew in his Catholic faith, developed as a devoted family son, learned his 3 R's, walked our streets, enjoyed our outdoors, swam in Long Island Sound, played sports, reached the rank of Eagle Boy Scout, and grew into solid young manhood. He left us to pursue his goal as a United States Navy SEAL and achieved it through the astonishing talents bestowed upon him by divine providence. The gentle, compassionate Stamford boy, whose heart always loved so well, also developed into a member of the nation's greatest military force. Like a flash of lightning, he could render swift justice, protect the vulnerable, and restore order where chaos reigned in a situation. And when he could turn around to appreciate fine art, read an edifying book, play the guitar or piano to the delight of children, and with devotion, piety, and reverence, kneel before Almighty God at Holy Mass and in making his regular confession for the forgiveness of his sins. A few years ago, Brian wrote an aunt on Good Friday. He said that he did not forget this solemn day, though where he was deployed in the Middle East, it was just another day, another work day, nothing special. Remembering his obligation to fast and abstinence, he told her that he had eaten just a little to keep up his strength, but that he had not eaten any meat. His religious discipline, learned in Stamford, was intact. The attention to detail for the funeral and honors for Brian Bill by the city of Stamford was not lost to many of the visitors in the first 2 weeks of August. Civil and military leaders were overflowing in their compliments. The Rear Admiral, who attended the August 19th funeral, sought me out, together with his wife and assistant, at the convention center on August the 25th. He praised repeatedly the well-organized ceremonies and how welcome he was made to feel upon arrival in Stamford. He had to attend 9 such painful events across the country. When our fallen hero's funeral mass ended at St. Cecilia, his remains returned to the Gallagher Funeral Home to await military transfer later that day. I went and sat by the side of his coffin for the remaining hours to pray my breviary and rosary and mourn a man who still for me was that wonderful kid who became the apple of my eye. I shall never forget the compassion and comfort given me by one naval officer who stood guard. Members of the Navy volunteer without pay to assist families of the fallen throughout the entire period from death to final burial and leave-taking. Brian Bill's family and many others cannot praise them enough. Any more attention than the Navy would have carried us around. Our 7-hour bus ride on August the 24th brought us to our hero's home. The neighborhood was decorated, and many waved to us as we passed their houses. To our joy, there were our Navy guardian angels waiting for us, and now dressed in sandals, shorts, and casual shirts, readying a delicious steak dinner for us. They took care of everything, then sat down, extolled the benefits of Sam Adams beer, talked military history, and puffed a cigar with yours truly. Everything in Brian's home was like a precious relic for me as I studied the rooms. Noting the multiples of certain items, I could not help interjecting a bit of humor to his mother. Patricia, I think Brian was a shopaholic. The next day, we headed to the memorial service in the convention center. A young father and a very young son waved their flags to our passing bus. 1,000 sailors lined both sides of the avenue approaching the center, over which passed the buses of mourners. Security was the highest possible. Fighter jets passed over us every few minutes. Some 8,000 stone-silent people watched the impressive memorial service. Not a cough, not a shuffle, not a fidget, not a bathroom trip, just a silent, flowing river of tears. Friday, August the 26th, we witnessed the highest military honors at the burial of the casualties. Following a short, rather generic prayer service, we assembled for the procession through Arlington National Cemetery. For the first time in its history, the cemetery was closed, except for the burial of a president or senator. The color guard was followed by the Navy band, then the horse-drawn caisson bearing one coffin to represent all of them containing a flag, then followed the mourners. We were some 2,000, composed of young and old, relations and friends of every description, a thick ribbon of black winding our way through the driveways of the cemetery. It was a mile-long walk, with many grandparents with canes, children in strollers or on the shoulders of their fathers, women in high heels with the backs of their ankles bleeding and sore. No one wavered. No one faltered. We all had come too far from all over the country to fall short of our goal, one last moment with our beloved. Everyone pressed on. The coffins were arranged in a row near the plot that would contain all at burial. The Navy, in immaculate white uniforms, black armbands and black ribbons on their hilts of their ceremonial swords, executed the honors beautifully. Then the families could approach the remains for some final private time. Together with Brian's priest-confessor from Virginia, we performed the Catholic rite of committal. To my dying day, I shall not forget the overflowing love poured out by the mourners upon those coffins. Another striking sight was the giving of a Navy SEAL to the deceased he chose, the trident he wore on his uniform. He can do it only once in his SEAL career. The trident's prongs are set into the wood of the coffin lid and then pounded in with one stroke. The thudding could be heard up and down the row. Brian received 3. Now, Brian Bill is part of eternity. However, a duty is incumbent upon all of us to have him live in the memory and esteem of his native city of Stamford. Working with Acting Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Winnie Hamilton, I hope that our schools will add Brian to a part of the standard curriculum for civic and local history classes for students at all levels. All our young people must have the benefit of our hero's example of a disciplined life, a sense of duty, a compassionate heart, and inspiration to strive for any honorable goal in life. I call upon all of us gathered here tonight and across Stamford in the days ahead to rally in support of His Honor, Mayor Pavia, as he calls together within this month a 7-member committee for the design and construction of a monument in memory of Brian Bill. Amongst the many details the committee will need to consider will be the capturing of his exact likeness and use of durable American natural resources, granite from New Hampshire, marble from Vermont, bronze produced in the United States. Stamford is a city that has faithfully remembered her fallen. But thankfully, on the rarest of occasions, there appears amongst those treasured dead one whose extraordinary witness of life and duty that rises to a level that calls a community to reflect a little deeper. On this night, 1 month since his sacrifice, for our continued security and peaceful pursuit of happiness, let us all dedicate ourselves to promoting Brian Robert Bill, United States Navy SEAL, beloved of Stamford, as true and legendary. Let the world see